Right, what is anxiety?
That's what I can't explain it, what it is. God, I'm sorry.
No, just go on.
Hi everyone, I'm just here in Nicole's headquarters.
I had a bath this morning, which is why my head was fluffy.
I don't want to say that it's a mental illness, because it's not. Anxiety is a mental illness. It's when you respond to things differently, like you get scared of stuff that isn't normal to be scared of. For example, if you're about to get onto, say, a roller coaster and you're really anxious and you're sweaty and you're really nervous, that's a normal type of anxiety. But anxiety, when it becomes a problem, is when you feel it in everyday life, like when you feel it for no reason, or if you're in town. There's all different kinds of anxiety, like social anxiety, panic disorder, which is when you get panic attacks. You know, you can get anxiety for anything, but anxiety is basically just when you're anxious. It's a bit of an awkward story how I got my anxiety. I'm not gonna name the place, but there is a place where you can buy, I don't know if you do this in other countries, but in England you can go to a shop and you can get they're like drugs, but they're legal drugs, they're like legal highs. And this was like 2 years ago, by the way, when I got it. I don't do it anymore, I don't even like hardly ever drink. But yeah, I smoked one of these legal highs and went off on one basically, and that was it. But anxiety does run in my family as well, so I think even if I didn't smoke that legal high, I was actually going to get it anyway, but I reckon the legal high just sort of brought it on quicker, if that makes sense. So it just brought it out before. I think I found out that it was anxiety when I ran away, because I was at Scott's when I did the legal high, and I ran away. And I went up to my mum's and I asked her to take me to the hospital, and she just basically explained to me that it was anxiety and it was a panic attack. And she wouldn't take me to the hospital because she said they would just sit me in A&E for about 4 hours with a plastic bag, trying to tell me to breathe into it. So we went to the doctors like a day or two later, and he said it's anxiety. When I went to the doctor, he told me just basic stuff like, you know, don't smoke anymore, drink caffeine as much, like tea and coffee. I don't really drink coffee because I don't like it that much anyway, but I cut down on coffee. He obviously told me not to take any legal highs anymore, which I don't. Yeah, and he basically put me on prescription tablets, but they're not tablets to calm anxiety, they're actually tablets to slow the heart rate down. Because that was what was making me anxious, was when my heart would beat faster, I'd get all these feelings that I'm actually going to die. So I've got these tablets to slow my heart down. They're called beta blockers. It was my humble mummy that took me down to the doctors because she's got anxiety like really badly, so she said she would come to the doctors with me and help me out, which it did help me out, but she forced me to tell the doctor that I'd done a legal high. But I suppose I had to say it. Now, I think I've gotten over my anxiety like quite a lot, and that's not just because of the tablets, even though they do help. I do want to get off them. But the more emotional side of anxiety, I think I've gotten over well. Because what you do is you don't be afraid of whatever you're scared to do, you should just do it anyway. You know, as long as it's on the like guidelines of being safe, obviously. But if you're scared to go out, just go out. And eventually the anxiety it'll fade away. But if you keep not doing what you want to do, that will feed the anxiety and it will just make it worse and worse and worse, to the point where you won't even want to come out your house. I don't know what it was like. I wanted to actually leave my soul. My soul wanted to leave my body because it was just such an uncomfortable experience. I just wanted to like jump out my body, and I didn't know where I wanted to go, but I wanted to fly away. But I was just like pacing around Scott's house. I went and sat in the bathroom and sat next to the toilet thinking I was going to be sick. I went upstairs, laid on the bed. That didn't help. So eventually I just ran to my mum's house because I was like, I need my mum. And she helped me, and I couldn't sleep for that night. I literally thought I was going to die. Like, I'd never, ever, ever been so scared than I was then. I literally thought I was going to die, heart racing. You were like sweaty but cold. I couldn't sleep. It was horrible. And that basically just continued. Like, at first I thought it was the drugs, obviously. but it continued until I basically went and got these tablets from the doctor. It just happened every single day. But I think what actually gave me anxiety was having anxiety gave me more anxiety, if that makes sense. Like the first panic attack scared me so much that I actually started getting anxious that it would happen again, so then it would happen again, if that makes sense, because I kept thinking, oh my god, it's going to happen again, so then I'd get scared and then it would happen again. It was just going round and around and around in this horrible cycle. So what anxiety basically is to me,
like really scared of a situation or a person or a place, and you know, you want to avoid it as much as you can, but you can't do that. You've got to go out and you've got to do what you want to do, because otherwise you're feeding the anxiety, and you can't do that. Because if you just stay, if you're like, for example, if you're scared to go down to town and you're like, right, I'm not going to go, I'm just going to stay in because I'm too scared to go, you'll do that every single time, and every time you say that to yourself, your anxiety is like, yay, I've won again. Okay, I'll make her more scared next time, and then eventually you won't go out anymore, and the anxiety will make you scared of more places. Like you don't even want to pop to the shop to get some milk, you just want to sit in your room and do nothing.
for example, like when I first had my panic attack, I had it at Scott's house, so after that I didn't want to go back to his house anymore. Like I would go there, and every time I went there I would leave again, because I started like reliving that panic attack again, because obviously I was in the same place, so I would relive the panic attacks. But the more I went back to Scott's, and the more I would feel anxious, but I would say, no, I'm not going to leave, I'm going to sit here and I'm just going to ride it out. The more you do that, just ride it out, because you're not going to die. Promise you, nobody has ever died from a panic attack. So what I did was I said, no, I am anxious, but I'm going to sit here and I'll be fine. And nowadays I can stay at Scott's again and everything's back to normal, like before I even had the panic attack.
Right, so to round it off, don't let anxiety feed your fear.
Don't let it control your life. I know it's a really difficult thing to say, but don't let it feed your life. You'll always have it, unfortunately, that's the reality. You'll always have it. It'll always be there, but you can definitely find ways to make it easier. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you want to ask any questions at all about anxiety, then leave some comments below. I hope this has helped at least one person, and if you want in the comments you can suggest a video to make next, because obviously I'm new at this, so I would like some suggestions of what to do next. Thanks everyone for watching, and thanks for the shout out, Nicole Bickle.